Before Rome ruled, before empires crowned themselves eternal, one man set out to conquer the entire known world, not for survival, not for defense, but for immortality. By the age of 30, he would control lands stretching across 3 continents. By 32, he would be dead. This is the story of Alexander the King, who tried to outrun time itself. 2,300 years ago, the world did not yet know his name. Empires ruled continents. Kings claimed divine authority. Armies marched under banners of gods, and in a small kingdom called Macedon, a child was born who would challenge them all. His name was Alexander. He would not just inherit a throne, he would attempt to inherit the world, the making of a king. Alexander was born in 356 BC in Pella, the capital of Macedon. His father, King Philip II, was a military genius who transformed Macedon from a fragile northern kingdom into a rising superpower. His mother, Olympias, was fiercely ambitious and deeply spiritual. She raised her son to believe he was destined for greatness. From childhood, Alexander was surrounded by war. He watched generals train. He studied maps instead of toys. He listened to stories of Achilles and heroes of old. He didn't just admire them, he wanted to surpass them. At the age of 13, his father hired a tutor who would shape his thinking forever, Aristotle. Under Aristotle, Alexander studied philosophy, science, medicine, politics, and literature. He learned about logic and reason, but also about Greek superiority over the so-called barbarians beyond their borders. This idea would stay with him. Conquest would not be theft, it would be destiny, the first sign of greatness. One story from his childhood reveals the mindset that defined him. A wild horse was brought before the royal court. No one could tame it. The animal was violent, unpredictable, impossible to control. Young Alexander stepped forward. He noticed something others had missed. The horse was frightened of its own shadow. He turned it toward the sun, mounted it, and rode successfully. His father reportedly told him, "Find a kingdom worthy of yourself. Macedon is too small for you." Alexander never forgot those words. Blood on the throne. In 336 BC, King Philip II was assassinated during a public celebration. The reasons remain debated: political rivalry, personal revenge, conspiracy. But within hours, 20-year-old Alexander was killed, and he moved quickly. Rivals were eliminated. Potential threats were executed. Rebellions were crushed without hesitation. When the powerful Greek city of Thebes revolted, Alexander destroyed it almost entirely. Thousands were killed. Thousands more were sold into slavery. It was brutal. It was calculated. The message was clear. There would be no weakness. Crossing into Asia. In 334 BC, Alexander crossed the Hellespont into Asia Minor with around 40,000 soldiers. His target was the Persian Empire, the largest empire the world had ever seen. It stretched from Egypt to India. Its king, Darius III, commanded vast armies and immense wealth. Many believed Alexander's invasion was suicide. He believed it was inevitable. The Battle of the Granicus. At the river Granicus, Persian forces waited. Against advice, Alexander charged directly across the river into enemy lines. The current was strong. Persian cavalry attacked from higher ground. Alexander nearly died, but his army held. The Persians were defeated. It was the first crack in a giant empire, and Alexander did not slow down. The Battle of Issus. In 333 BC, Alexander faced Darius III himself at Issus. Darius commanded a much larger army. The battlefield was narrow, reducing Persia's advantage. Alexander attacked the center, aiming directly at Darius. When Darius fled the battlefield, panic spread through the Persian ranks. The king's mother, wife, and children were captured. Alexander treated them with respect, not cruelty. It was political strategy. He wanted to appear as the rightful ruler of Asia, not just an invader. The Siege of Tyre. Not all victories were swift. The city of Tyre refused to surrender. Located on an island fortress, it seemed untouchable. Alexander built a massive causeway across the sea. For 7 months, he attacked relentlessly. When the city finally fell, thousands were killed. Darius had prepared carefully. The battlefield was cleared to allow Persian war chariots to move freely. The Persian army may have outnumbered Alexander's forces several times over, but Alexander used precision and strategy. He created a gap in the Persian line and drove straight toward Darius. Again, Darius fled, and this time, the empire collapsed. Babylon surrendered. Susa surrendered. Persepolis, the ceremonial capital of Persia, was looted and burned. The greatest empire on earth had fallen to a 25-year-old king. The transformation with Persia conquered, Alexander's ambition grew. He adopted Persian dress, encouraged marriages between Macedonians and Persians, demanded that his subjects bow before him in Persian fashion. Many of his own generals were uncomfortable. They had followed a Macedonian king. Now, they served someone who claimed divinity. Paranoia grew. Old friends were executed under suspicion of betrayal. Alexander was no longer just conquering territory. He was reshaping identity. The march to India still unsatisfied. Alexander marched east, through brutal terrain, across deserts, into modern-day Afghanistan and Pakistan. In 326 BC, he faced King Porus at the Battle of the Hydaspes River. Porus commanded war elephants, terrifying creatures unfamiliar to the Macedonian army. The battle was fierce and bloody, but Alexander adapted once again. Porus was defeated and captured. When asked how he wished to be treated, Porus replied, "Like a king." Alexander respected strength. He restored Porus to his throne as a subordinate ruler. The breaking point. After 8 years of non-stop campaigning, Alexander's army had had enough. They stood at the edge of India, facing the possibility of even greater empires ahead. They refused to go further. For the first time in his life, Alexander could not command obedience. He argued, he pleaded, he isolated himself in his tent for days, but eventually he turned back. The man who had defeated empires could not defeat exhaustion. The final days. In 323 BC, back in Babylon, Alexander began planning new campaigns in Arabia, perhaps even beyond. But he fell ill after days of heavy drinking. Fever gripped him. For nearly 2 weeks, he weakened. His generals asked, who should inherit his empire? He reportedly answered, to the strongest. At just 32 years old, Alexander died. And with him, unity died as well. His generals divided the empire. Wars followed. The empire he built shattered within years. The legacy of Conquest Alexander never lost a battle. He spread Greek language and culture across 3 continents. He created the Hellenistic world, blending East and West in ways never seen before. Cities he founded still exist today, but he also left destruction. Cities burned, families destroyed, cultures absorbed. Was he a visionary or a force of unstoppable ambition? He conquered the known world, but he died young, without peace, without a clear heir, without seeing the lasting consequences of his dream. The final question. Alexander sought immortality through conquest, and in a way, he achieved it. His name is still spoken, his battles still studied, his ambition still admired. But history leaves us with a question. Is greatness measured by how much land you conquer, or by what survives after you are gone? Alexander took the world by force, but the world did not stay his. And perhaps that is the final lesson. Power can seize everything, but it cannot hold it forever. Alexander conquered the world, but history conquered him. If you want more cinematic journeys into the rise and fall of empires, if you want stories where ambition meets destiny, subscribe now, because the next legend is already waiting.